Well, everybody, it has been a week, especially because last week we did it a day late, and we're doing it a day late again. This time we have an extra fellow, though. We'll get to him in a second. Um, Actually, we may as well get to him right now. I am Mr. Entertainment, and with me now is Jockey Bacon.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be back, sitting in this chair early in the morning. Yeah, good time.
Bacon, you're going to have to say about 200 words exactly, no more and no less about last week's episode after I finish everybody's introduction. So start typing away, and we don't want to hear them typing strokes. While Mr. R, or Riker7, does his introduction.
Hello. I'm here as always, doing a recording, which I'll then spend most of the week editing in between my other streams, and I'll get it up about 24 hours before the next episode goes out. Just in time for it to lose all relevance.
This is true. I guess we'll do the shilling now. Mr. R, this version that you're probably watching on my YouTube channel first is the shitty version of this podcast, live stream, excerpt, whatever you call it. And on Mr. R's channel, he takes time out of his week to edit together and put panels over when we're referencing things, though not all the time. Like, say you bring up 1972's classic Devilman. In that case, he doesn't put the images on. Shake my head. But you should probably go and watch those videos. You can find them on his channel, which is always linked in the description. But finally, we are also joined by Mr. Ari.
Hello everyone, I am Ari, and I like Attack on Titan.
Yikes. Cringe.
And that's everything, yep.
Bad take.
Ari also makes Attack on Titan videos. Bacon doesn't, but he has written 200 words about his summary of his points about last episode, which he wasn't here to talk about. And he's going to say them all now. Count, chat, count.
Yeah. So there are loads of things that I actually kind of liked about the episode. I liked how they kept the simple moving pictures as they were talking. But then I think that it's an interesting contrast between this week and last week's, because last week's I was actually engaged in the conversation. I kind of forgot that McGarth was not a nice chapper. And this week I also forgot he was not a nice chapper because he did break Madame Yelena's arm. Not the nicest. And basically I was like, ooh, conversation good last week. And this week I was like, conversation dull this week. So, yeah. 200 words exactly, I think you'll find.
Yeah, I was counting. I think I got 202.
Oh.
Not 202, but 202. There's something I would need to bring up. I have fallen off my Crunchyroll subscription. We've hit hard times, no uploads. So I did have to watch on a different site, and I'm only bringing this up because when I was watching the Normies reaction, which is something you just must do every week, of course. I noticed that some of the words were different, so I must have been reading a fan translation, because in my version of the Yelena scene, which is why this idea popped into my head to bring this up now, because Mr. Bacon just mentioned it, in the Normies version, I think they say specifically elbow, but in my version it said arm. I don't know what the fucking manga says. We'll scroll through it as we scroll through it. But in case any of my idiosyncratic details about dialogue are off seriously, that is the reason why. I just thought it's probably important to bring up. But after that, I guess we'll go back around and do what we usually do, which is overall thoughts. Bacon kind of just did his, so I guess we'll go straight to Mr. R.
Overall thoughts. I really liked it. It turns out I'd forgotten a lot about this chapter. Sorry if I just said creaking, everyone. I was picking up the book because I always forget to have the book handy for translation discussions. I very much enjoyed it. I thought the action was incredible compared, for what we saw versus what we saw in the manga. The Daz and Samuel scene was suitably emotional, and even though I believe that, I think I remember saying last week that Daz looked very different than he did in the manga, but maybe not. I think Isayama just learned how to draw him properly. And there was one particular panel, though, that I was rather disappointed wasn't there, and I think you'll definitely agree with me when we come to discuss it, Kyle.
Well, I got no idea what you're talking about, so we'll get there when we get there, I suppose. What could I be thinking about? What could I be missing?
It's your favorite kind of panel.
Oh, I see.
Was it a miscellaneous insert shot? What was it? We'll get to it when we get to it, I guess. That brings us to RE.
Yes. So I would say for the original chapter in the manga, I'm not that big of a fan of it. I don't even remember. Like, I remember the big details, like, of what happens in the manga, but I don't remember anything, like, any of the small details, I guess. But I thought the episode was really good. And I loved how they ended it, like, with the cut-off scream and everything. I thought that was really cool.
There's well, first of all, I want to say that I remember this chapter a whole hell of a lot because I like this chapter a whole hell of a lot, and I think this is where my reread that I did a mini reread to write no, last week's chapter would have been included in this too, but to write the most recent Attack on Titan video, not the one I'm working on now, but the Scout one, obviously, because I had to see what everybody was wearing and what they were doing in this conflict, because this is obviously the MacArthur has the Scout thing on later, but so I was very familiar, and all this slander about forgetting it will not be tolerated. But
Alright.
there's also I really like the second last page with the Bertolt thing, which they tried to do, but we'll talk about that I'm sure later. Fuck, there was something else I wanted to hit on, but as always, we've forgotten. There is two things that specifically stand out as negatives, I guess, and they're very small things. I don't know. We're 5 minutes in. Why are we bringing up Evangelion already? I feel like why didn't I like the Connie scream at the end? It felt kind of not strong enough, but it was kind of whimpering, but it was kind of good. I don't know. There was something like off about the scream to me, and I was going to.
I think I
Evangelion
agree.
because Evangelion has the screams, but I think your point, Ari, would be that that's like the point, and I get that that's the point, but it's still, I don't know.
No,
There's
no,
something
I
weird.
think
And
I agree
also-
with you about the scream. Like, the actual scream itself was a
okay.
bit... It wasn't as, like, powerful, I guess, as I was expecting. But I liked how they cut it off there, kind of. Like, I liked the
Yes,
editing
yes, I
rather
did
than the
like
actual scream.
the abrupt end.
Yeah.
And on another point, one of Bacon's, I'm sure he'll bring this up, or he noticed this. When Samuel out of the blue says we were going to eat meat together, it's just like, God, every
Oh,
time
boy.
this fucking thing brings up meat, it's like the worst part always. The Sasha stuff, I know Bacon loves shitting on Sasha, but the meat allegory I talked about with the brow situation, then it's brought up here again, and because again, we watch our customary Normie's reaction.
Yep.
Fuck. I think his name is Nicky on the end. He just started laughing when they brought up the meat, and it wasn't supposed to be a funny moment. I was just like, yeah, brother. Every time this meat thing is brought up, it's not hitting. Maybe it works better in Japanese. Does it mean Niccolo? Probably not.
I think it doesn't.
But yeah.
But maybe he's not Daz, is he? Anyway,
As
maybe that
what-
chap did have something with Niccolo. I don't know. Maybe they did have like a love that was
Yeah.
not stopped by borders.
Hey, Bacon, you idiot! It's Samuel that brings up the meat.
Oh, I see.
As
Oh, my bad.
and he does have a Sasha moment. His only moment is when he falls off the wall and Sasha skewers him through the leg, and it's all gross and stuff. And somehow he was brought back. I assumed he just died, but then this chapter came out, and I was like, "Holy fuck, Samuel's still around! What the fuck?" But,
Yeah, I literally pulled them back from the grave. I mean, I think, yeah, this chapter was interesting for me because, like, last week, I kind of felt like, oh, there's a bit of drama, there's a bit of tension. And here, they're like, oh, here we're being logical. We're going to make sure that all the plot makes sense. And I can't be bothered with that stuff. And I'm just like, man, we've had too much talking in circles recently. Let's get to the action. Or at least when they do the shots, there's lots of standing around. And I think, like, when it's in a manga form, yeah, when it's in a manga form, you can often like read it quickly. You know, that's the whole thing. And then because it's an anime, because it's a TV anime, they can't do anything. You know, I'm a monkey. I need my motion. I'd like to see like some interesting expressions. I mean, this is why like Arcane or just general TV shows are so good, because when the acting is able to convey so much more than just the words they're saying, and you're able to kind of dig into more neurons fire, insert insert Matthew Matosis meme. You know, like it just makes it much more enjoyable to watch. And I know if I was to come back and rewatch this whole series, this would be another like, oh, well, here we go, another Attack on Titan, big talky talk moment. But instead of being in someone's head, it's kind of them just laying out the plans. I mean, if people do, you know, I know people really like their you know, making sure all the things are explained properly, and that's fine by me. But the logistics, yeah. But the first bit of the episode dragged, and then it came in, and I saw Reiner, and I saw him swinging. I was like, oh dang, he is handsome, and I forgot every single thing I had any issues with. So
Absolutely.
It is kind of interesting to me because I didn't have a problem with the dialogue at the beginning. I kind of like it. I like the slower pace generally. I feel like I've talked about that in every one of these things we've done. There is like a what do you call it when you scale it out? There is like a take and push and pull. I think that's what I was looking for. Maybe that's not right. There's two contradicting things here of like, this episode kind of builds up to an action scene that never comes, because a lot of the action is in the next chapter, and we've decided to not do these chapters as like one episode. But it also works in the episode's favor of really ramping up the tension on the Connie and Armin front.
that is true.
Yeah. I think
So
that
it's
was the
kind of
highlight
like
of the episode.
positive with the negative. Yeah, I feel like that was done extremely well. I talked about the shot. I guess we're going all out of order. We'll probably stop this after. But I remember last week when I talked about the preview, I talked about the shot of Armin and Connie looking down, and I think that was like the peak of the tension in the episode, and it was rather good. But does anybody have anything general to say before we try and go chronologically here?
Yeah, no, I don't have any issue with the amount of talking. I just forgot there was that much talking. Basically, that's all it was. I just forgot that there was so much of that discussion. I didn't have an issue with how much there was. The talky talk in Attack on Titan's always great. So,
yeah, I agree with that. All right. So we start here. We've got I guess we just got this brief moment where we actually look through the spyglass here of Magath in the anime. But we have the commanders having their little meeting on the beginning of the top of the rock. They're looking at things. There's lots of dialogue here. Yes, there were some cool shots. I just said there were no cool shots, but that wasn't true. And then I was thinking about the action shots later, the transformation shots, which is more motion shots more than like the cinematography stuff I talked about last week and in episodes before that. But I feel like all this stuff was done well. I do really like this chapter title page. The Traitor title page with them all kind of getting ready. They didn't exactly do this shot. They did it in separate littler shots. It was fine. What else do we say?
I think that's part of I was just gonna say, I feel like that's part of the single full page just probably doesn't translate as well to screen, so that's why the double page spreads they can translate to screen, but single page not so much.
Yeah, sort of the vertical to horizontal thing we've talked about. There's some verticality here. We do get to this whole. I guess we'll just compact this entire scene as like the talk. It is interesting that Gabby and Falco, this is only a little detail I'm noticing here, because I feel like it kind of comes out of nowhere in the episode where Gabby is just sort of like falling down, and then Magath has the moment where he sees her. It sort of seems like it came out of nowhere. I don't know if they had an establishing shot like they have here in the manga where it's like Falco and Gabby are watching sort of the rear to see if anybody is sneaking up on them.
I think they do.
Do they? Am I just forgetting? I might be forgetting.
I'm gonna gaslight you.
Maybe. This scene, we break this scene down to the first part, I guess, here is the Annie part of her. Annie does these emotional swing things a lot where she's like at first like guilting them over like, so you want us to not kill these pricks, and can you, what else does she say here?
I think she just sees through them.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of that, but then she like flip-flops immediately and is like, you guys actually aren't obligated to do anything here, and we'll just do it all, and then obviously Armin comes back around. I don't know, it's like it's a weird Annie character trait. But anyway.
Jimmy Barrett is confirming that there was an establishing shot. Chat,
Oh,
just to make sure chat's getting read.
Yes, keep an eye out on chat. They get pissy when you don't read them. But anything else to say about this stuff? I don't. This sort of.
I have
specifics to go into here, I guess.
I remember. I mean, it's not related to the anything, but in the scene, like in the first scene, I guess, where they're looking at the steam, and he like cuts to the opening, and it's like meant to be like a big dramatic like thing. I was so confused. I didn't know what they were looking at. I was like, is that the ocean? Like, what is this? And it's so clear in the manga. Like you can see the steam, and it's very obvious. For some reason, I just had no idea what was happening. Like,
yeah, it wasn't until like right as it cut away, I was still sort of thinking, what did they? And I was like, oh, right, the rumbling steam.
It was kind of like they slowly zoom up into the sky, and it's supposed to be like, oh, I noticed it, but you really didn't notice anything, and then it just dramatically.
Yeah, I just thought it was clouds.
Because of my illegal method of watching this episode, I actually did see the lyrics for the ending. We should probably talk about that at the end. But there was something interesting about that. Minty had told me that I should read the lyrics to that, but remind me to bring that up at the end. We also eventually in the scene, first of all, they cut away this cool shot of Anya Capon thinking about everybody putting the plane together. Another one of these little sort of I guess insert shots that they didn't do. It doesn't have the it's not on a slant and doesn't have the white lines over it though. Connie, there's I feel like should we even I'm sort of at a conflict here. Should we just go over the character moments and talk about how they were done good and why it's good in the manga? I don't know. Why am I so unsure?
Apprehensive.
Yeah, why am I so apprehensive?
I've got some small like I'm not sure if it's composition.
Jump in.
Of the characters. So like last week I noticed this as well. It kind of bothered me a little bit, but everybody's like equally spaced apart when they're around the campfire, and that was when I was a little bit like, this feels like very inorganic, and it feels like too much equal spacing. I'd like to, and then this episode it also kind of happened where, like in the manga, it doesn't feel like that, but when you have Connie Armin, Jin and Mikasa, they're like all perfectly like spaced apart when they're talking to them, and so it feels like weirdly regimented. And anyway, that's just a very, very, very minor nitpick. But anyway, anime bad, of course, because
I don't know if I remember.
There was the spacing of the characters. I think it was so that I feel like part of it was because they ended up having so many zoom shots that if they kept things consistent, you would have seen the other characters in them potentially. I don't know. It was, or you if they hadn't kept things consistent. I don't know. I think I get what you're saying though. It was everything was very sort of unilateral in the spacing.
I don't remember the shots enough to comment on this front, but I guess we should just go through the character moments. So initially, we're having Annie character moments. Anya Capon establishes that he can fly the plane if we get it up and running. He has a use. Good thing we kept him around. Annie and Armin kind of have a semi-moment here. We'll get more of this later. I like the Connie reiteration here about how Connie is so... this Connie fella, I like him. Because last episode, 2 chapters ago, it was kind of about him with his mum, and obviously he comes to the conclusion, not at the end of that chapter, but at the end of that portion of that chapter, that going to save people is what is going to get him to get out there and try and stop the rumbling. And he comes to this moment when they're talking about trying to, we're going to have to kill some Jaegerists, and he's like, no, we're going to save people. And then at the end of it, we know how it all works out. What were you going to say, Bacon?
Oh, I was just saying cringe in the background.
Oh, okay.
Bad humorous effect, hopefully.
Yes. I just didn't hear it, alright? But yeah, his like sort of, because I remember, it's bringing back all the memories of reading this for the first time, because I remember reading this chapter initially and being like, yeah, we established, like, we're going to save people. And then the ending of this episode sort of contradicts that as sort of this ultimate statement. And I don't know, it's cute, and I like that Connie is given the focus here. I don't think that the shots at the end of the episode are as harsh as they are in the manga. Of
no, there's definitely
the
some
lighting
censorship
they do on-
going on in the
Yeah.
in the anime. I think I get.
Is that what you were talking about earlier?
No, it's a different thing. I can't believe you not brought it up. We'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was to say I get what you mean about the sort of the juxtaposition of like their sort of their very altruistic goal versus the reality of what they're going to have to do to accomplish that goal. And again, there are no truly virtuous characters in Attack on Titan.
Because I'm now remembering what I was bringing up my initial reading through. Because I remember we would argue all the time about how the Alliance were the good guys basically against Jaegerists at the time. And this sort of threw a wrench in some of the talking points at the time, and I remember that being interesting. So they have to do some nasty things.
I think this chapter
Sorry.
kind of, or I guess this episode just reminded me of, or I kind of understand a bit more why there is so much division in the fandom. Like with people taking the sides of the Jaegerists and it brings it again down to the personal level where it's much easier to side with like a person than it is to side with an ideology, I guess, and then justify your siding with the people is reason for justifying your siding with the ideology eventually. Like, I don't know.
God, the Bertov moment at the end is so good. We'll get to it.
Yeah, I feel like especially for characters like Daz and Samuel, it's so easy for them to, I guess, almost like just clip. Until 4 years ago, they didn't even know the outside world existed. They have no sort of real attachment or feeling of belonging. This is not meant to justify Aaron's plan whatsoever. Let's just get that right out before anyone gets clipped out of context. But I guess that's perhaps why it's so easy for a lot of them to just accept that, because most of them have never left the island. Like Daz and Samuel haven't, they may have been present at Liberio, but quite possibly they've still never left the island. They haven't seen the world. All they know is that they've been living on this island, and the world's been sending Titans to kill them for the last 100 years. So it's easy enough for them to see. I can understand I can very easily understand where they're coming from in their viewpoint. As you said, personal over, I guess, philosophical.
Flock didn't go with them to Mali, right? I'm trying to think now.
What, in the flashback chapter?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I think Flock's first appearance in Marley was during the raid on Liberia. The only people who went were like the main group, like the Mikasa, Connie, Jean, Anjay, Aaron, and Levi.
Because it kind of builds off, what we were saying, what you were saying just now about like they all have been to Marley. They party with the young Ramsey, or wait, what's his Ramsey's his name, right?
It is Ramsey, yes. God, you're so bad at remembering those two characters.
Step on them, whatever.
Soon.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, was Flock there? Probably not, so it sort of coincides with that point about Flock also hasn't been there. It's interesting that they decided to just not take Flock. He's one of the 9 survivors, and they're like, this
He is one of the 9 survivors, but he also didn't get a promotion. Like, he was a crew.
Did he get the medal?
He got a medal, but he didn't get a promotion.
Yeah.
Like all the other members of the Survey Corps who were there had been in the Survey Corps for a few months at that point, and I guess they took over most of the leadership positions. Like Jean became like a squad leader. Mikasa and Armin basically became like a tactician, like Hanji sort of tactician after Moblet
Flock doesn't
was
have
killed.
any talent, is what you're saying.
No, Flock doesn't have any talent. He was a garrison soldier who happened to survive, and then got war pilled. And
Mr. You just reminded me that it had only been a few months when they returned to Shinganshina. That broke my neck a little bit. I was like, oh, of course. Oh my word.
Should we bring up DBZ again and how the final arc, the final 100 episodes happens in like a day and a half? What a time to be alive the Boo saga was, but we'll bring that up every time.
Hunter x Hunter and something.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That fucking Hunter shit's just copying my my boy Dragon Ball's trip, alright? Fuck on.
And doing it better.
You heard what I said? Yeah.
Actually, I'm not a Hunter boy, but I'll stand.
When did Hunter the manga start? With tangenting. We'll only see it for a
Late 90s, I want to say.
few
Yeah. Well, the anime was
DBZ
99, right?
is- Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Cool looking anime that I haven't seen. Shake my head. Dragon Ball started in like 84, right?
They started ages
Oh, I
ago.
don't know.
When he
Long
ground
time
us.
ago.
Dragon Ball Chapter 1 release date.
Yeah, 1999.
Whoa!
98.
Oh, no, hold on. At first I thought it was 79, but no, 84. I'm a fucking god, right? I remember all these things. I am good at remembering years, just not Ramsey's name. That was just to prove that DBZ was better, I guess. But I don't know why I did that. Then we got a character moment with Reiner. He remembers Eren, and it's cute, and he's like, oh, that's what he meant. He is willing to kill the innocent people.
We
He's
actually
like Annie and me.
we
I was
actually got
like,
the
what? It
flashback
took
as
him
well,
that
didn't
long?
we? We got the insert shot
We
for
did.
that.
We did.
Yes, we did get the insert shot.
It was reanimated.
Yeah,
That's
flash.
interesting.
Was it actually?
Was it? I did not peek.
I think so.
Oh.
Because it's like from Reiner's perspective. At least I don't remember seeing that from Reiner's perspective in that scene.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll need to check. I guess if it was reanimated,
Yeah.
there'll be a clip on screen right now showing if it was reanimated
Indeed.
or not.
Oh, because it's so
Drop
well
it in the word.
edited. Oh yeah.
I wonder if was the Bertolt stuff at the end also new?
I don't think so. No, I think it looked straight out of like Wit style.
Was it though? Because they used different. They recorded a different line for it though.
Oh,
Okay.
but maybe. I don't know.
Wait,
Jimmy's
what,
saying
the
shame about
Bertolt
Aaron's
like
large
that?
forehead in the anime. Lol, hope it gets fixed. Does Aaron have a large forehead in that shot?
This is like you guys talking about the establishing shot earlier. I don't remember anything.
I feel like in this episode, I did notice a few. I mean, there's been inconsistencies in like the drawing, I guess, throughout this season or part. But I think being in the daylight, like this whole episode, I did notice quite a bit more.
I didn't notice nothing.
I can't say I spotted anything as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got anything offhand, Mr. Ari?
Oh,
Jordan?
I not really. Like I would say this, it stood out to me in that scene where they're discussing things right at the beginning. So I'd have to go back, look at that, and see. But yeah, I don't have anything specific.
Maybe. We'll take his word for it tentatively.
Yes, trust me. Yes.
I like this back shot now of Reiner here. So that's what he meant. That's cute. I don't think we got that, but I could be completely fucking wrong.
Well, he definitely
Is
said
this-
that's what it meant. I remember
Yeah,
that.
he definitely said that, but I don't know if we got like the. I don't know. I like the look at Reiner's back. What a back.
I feel like we got I feel like we got a face shot for him during that bit as well.
Yeah.
But like
'Cause I
that
remember
bit,
it
that
kind of
panel with
coming
his
abruptly.
eyes.
Yeah, we did do some eye stuff at the beginning. I think it was with Annie and Armin when they, or I don't even think Armin was talking, but when they were going back and forth, I guess, with the looks. Am I remembering that correctly? I don't know. Does anybody want to call me a liar? I can't remember. Or do you not remember?
You mean like
this shot
the
I'm talking
seeing
about?
one side of a face?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
on
talking
sort of
about?
each.
Yeah. I like that when they do
That
that.
did happen. I didn't make that up.
Yeah. Well, you mean this episode? Yeah, it happened this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
Jimmy is
it
saying
coming-
it was reanimated. Shout outs to
Oh,
Jimmy.
okay.
Jimmy's got all the fucking answers. Hold on, we've got a John thought bubble here that I don't remember seeing. He says that, but a few rampage titans, all we need to. No, I think he says that out loud in the anime, right? He says like, "Titans really what?" Maybe he thinks this. Am I lying again? You'd have to have my stream up to know specifically what panel I'm talking about here, fellas. But this John line here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says this. Somebody says, like, Titans rampaging really going to save the day. I think maybe it was John thinking it. Again, I should not get hung up on these little dialogue details. It's kind of a fucking waste of time that I'm usually misremembering. But another character moment here. There's a lot of character moments here. Hanji like sliding down and immediately being like, "I'm ready to kill Jaegers" when everybody else is.
Yeah.
It kind of separates the younger generation from Hanji, which I
But
think.
at the
is,
same
well,
time, it is interesting how that's what because you think back a few episodes ago, they were willing to kill all the people who've been turned into Titans without like a moment's hesitation. So it is sort of interesting that I don't think it's the problem they have with like if all the Jaegers got turned into Titans, they'd have no issue. It's like it creates like an
Maybe
easy.
they just assume.
Yeah, it creates like an easy
ahead, go
moment
ahead.
in their head. I mean, I guess like at that point, they at the moment, as far as they're aware, they don't believe that Titanization can be reversed beyond eating a shifter.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was gonna say.
perhaps there is that
I guess there's
that element to it.
Yeah, there's like a slight difference, I guess, of them running up on the Jaegers when Titans are usually very proactive on running up on you. So who the aggressor is technically maybe could be a differentiator here, where they're going to run into the thing and start the fight rather than just sort of passively being around and going, like, they're going to get attacked no matter what.
I think it's just another example of fraud Siyama and his bad writing.
Yes. He has double standards, plot holes, we might say.
Uh-oh.
Again, I feel like
Uh-oh.
the steam, they never did this in like the episode properly.
They didn't do it as
'Cause we had
well.
a lot of shots
I
of
think.
steam, yeah, of actually making it look like a sort of Titan rumbling steam. Then we get the Magath gonna choke Yelena out, break her arm.
Quite
That's
sexy.
like arm here. Yes, Bacon's into this type of thing, beating
Oh,
up
yeah.
on women.
One of my-
Oh, I
Bacon
love it.
proved practice.
In my
Put on my
group chat,
grave.
one of my friends pointed out that they thought it was ridiculous. I thought this was really typical Magad. This is like this is like a trope all the time, where he's like saying
Yeah.
talk, damn it, and he's covering her mouth.
Yeah. That's like the point of the scene, right? That he's.
Yeah, the official
counterintuitive.
translation in the manga and from the episode was saying that every time you refuse, I give your arm another elbow.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a cool.
yeah.
That's a cool line.
I like that.
It is a cool line. The shading here is really good on Magath. He looks very angry here in the
Mhm.
manga. But you wouldn't catch me advocating for more shading in this godforsaken motion cartoon. The Yelena moment here is kind of interesting because she says she's like changed her mind. This Yelena character in this reread, we've got to figure this woman out because I'm still not sure I get it. But her, because it kind of seems like she like the tropey way for this scene to go is for her to say, "Well, fuck you, I'm not telling you anything," and they have to take her along. But instead, she's like, "Actually, I want to see how this plays out, and if you take me with me, I might just tell you where Eren is." So it's kind of like Nagath gets what he wants here, kind of, which is I don't know. It feels like a weird way for that interaction to end.
Yeah, Yelena is a character
anybody
who's
else?
really hard. She's really hard. It's really difficult to put your finger. I mean,
Yeah.
like she's kind of given. I think. Well, she's kind of given up on everything because her Lord and Savior Zeke is dead, as far as she's aware.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is also interesting that we never really get like a resolution with Yelena. Like she
Hmm.
isn't in the final chapter. I don't think the last time we see her, I think, is her just floating in the boat with Kiyomi and the gang,
Yeah,
waiting to see if they will succeed.
Isayama kind of
Um,
forgot. We needed more chapters.
Or-
We needed 3 more chapters of just
Yeah.
epilogue. 3 chapters of epilogue.
maybe it's all
Every
there.
every character gets an ending. That's the only good way to do a manga.
Can't
Maybe
leave,
it's all there and I'm
can't leave
just not
stuff
putting it
ambiguous, okay? I can't be thinking to myself, huh, I didn't have everything spelled out for me. That's a no-go for me.
Like unironically, people like meme on, like a big example, people meme on the Return of the King films for having like 9 endings. That for me is like perfect. I love seeing the resolution to
I
every
always thought that
single
was the
character.
dumbest fucking criticism. It's just like people say it because it sounds funny, like because it fades out a bunch, and it's like, haha, it didn't end. But
No,
yeah,
character
I think
resolution
every one of
good.
those endings is a fun time. Yeah.
Thank you, Ari, for the heart. I posted a screenshot in chat.
No, I gotta
Yeah.
Turtle in,
Discord now.
There's
They're
definitely
flipping everything
Mappa.
around.
It's
Oh yeah,
definitely
that's got map all over it.
Yeah. Like, I think I actually see the Mappa logo on his teeth.
Oh yeah, like the shading. What is this? What is this article? Attack on Titan echoes Game of Thrones death rattle.
I shared it because
Link
it,
it. So,
it just randomly popped up when I was searching for something to do with for a rumor I'd heard about the last episode of this season, and then that popped up, and I'm like, oh no, this is going to be the absolute most
disgusting.
This is going to be a head empty take.
oh well.
Good thing I don't
haven't-
read, so I can't
I'll have
I
to.
can't experience.
We'll link the article in the description for anyone who wants to have a read. It's probably going to be really
I might do
painful.
that. I don't know if I'll remember.
Okay, I'll link the article in the
Actually,
description.
stream content tomorrow. I could read that or something. But Oh, we got another behind the back shot here, but it's with McGarth. Is this like a motif in this chapter? Ooh. But interesting. I guess it's when you have this moment of clarity. They did do that shot in the. I think this will probably be in the manga almost certainly as well. But they do the. I was thinking about this a little bit. They do the shot later. I think it's as McGarth is doing this like confession apology. Yeah, they do it kind of in the manga here, where it's sort of the shot from behind the back. It's interesting that like the trope is to not show like a character's front on face, or at least their like eyes, when you're like trying to keep it ambiguous how they're reacting to something. Isn't that kind of interesting? That
Because
we sort
the
of
eyes are the
focus on
window
eye.
into the soul.
Into the
That's
soul.
That's
Yes.
the saying.
It's just sort of interesting, like that's how humans work. We look at the face to determine how people, more than any other piece of body language, sort of. But that's kind of besides the point. Oh, I also like they did include this in the anime. There's like one little motion of Anya Capone, like tying up Yelena's arm.
Oh yeah, that was in the background.
One of the long shots. That was cute. I did like that, and it is here in the manga as well.
Being a good
the
boy.
The bow is kind of interesting because Marley and McGarth is sort of supposed to be like these European blokes, and the bow is a very Japanese gesture. It's kind of cute.
Yeah. And the Paradisians are also technically meant, meant to be European as well.
I think it's also a very Japanese bow. Like he could have bowed in a more European way, and then that because I mean when
like
you bow,
on one knee or something.
I mean to be fair, as like the fact that he's bowing to them, maybe it means something different in Japanese culture, but like if you bow to anybody in like European societies, like there's clearly apologetic or like a way of clear subservience and not just being polite.
Yeah.
It means something
It is-
more. Has a lot more gravity. I imagine in Japan it probably would be like because he's a senior and he's bowing to them. Maybe that's a big
Yeah,
difference.
now
feel
see,
like
I know a
that's
thing or two about Japanese culture because I watch, of course, lots of Japanese wrestling, and after matches, people bow to each other sometimes, and they do it like this. Sometimes, like you can do the get down on the knees and bow thing. Like sometimes with a bad guy, he like loses a match afterwards, but it's a competitive match, so he bows to the good guy afterwards, and it's usually not like a complete babyface turn of he's turning into a good guy, but it's just sort of like this singular moment of respect. It's a fun time. Wrestling is great. Kind of reminds me of this, of sort of the reluctant bad guy who sort of bows.
I think also or interesting thing with Japanese bows, which I'm just like put into words, like their bows are very symmetrical. I feel like European bows are not symmetrical.
Yeah,
When you bow at
it's
the
very
hip here,
90-degree.
well, it's more like both sides are equal. So when you bow in a European style, and Attack on Titan has done this, they go on one knee. You won't go on two knees and sit down and then bow like that. Similar, if you do bow when you're bending at the hips, you generally have, if like this will be a flamboyant. So if you imagine like some high class dance and like the man's gonna bow and the lady's gonna curtsy, the gentleman will extend one arm and then keep another one on his waist as he bows. So in European bow. Sorry, I'm just
Billy
going off
Tiber
on a
bows,
tangent.
isn't it?
Perhaps
Sort of the chauvinistic like bow.
not show not show.
Chauvinistic.
Showman, not chauvinist.
Showmanship is what I
Yeah,
meant.
they're a bit different. But
Yeah.
but like even then, like he has his arms on his side instead of having one in front and one behind his back. Even so, yeah. Anyway, it's very clearly a Japanese bow. So once again, fraud Sayama rearing his head. Can't believe it. Bad.
It
there
is kind
we
of
go.
interesting of like
Nice.
like there's probably in portrayals in like Western portrayals of like Eastern media or whatever, or like if a Hollywood movie made like a movie in Japan, they would sort of fuck up these little contextual things that any Japanese person would notice and be like, that's not from here. This bow is kind of our version of that, of like, this isn't like really a European type of way to sort of apologize and ask for forgiveness, but I think it's cute. I think it adds like
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I did wonder if like the sort of try and make it sort of fit more within sort of, I guess, European sort of customs and stuff. Like they don't use honorifics in any of the translations, even the official ones. Although I know they definitely do say them. Like you hear them in the anime from time to time, not very often. Like there's a distinct reduction in the amount of honorifics that are used, and I wonder if that's a fact as well. Thinking about the fact that technically this isn't Japan, it's technically like Europe.
in Japanese, but yeah. I know earlier in the episode, I did peep or hear because you don't hear with your eyes, but Piek did call Annie-chan. That
I
is.
didn't even spot
something
that. I know that Zeke called Piek Chan a lot. Like that's something, and I think in the one I remember the most most vividly is the Return to Shiganshina arc when it turns out Hanji's alive and Mikasa shouts Hanji-san as well. But it's not
I
very
also remember
frequent.
this as well, yeah. But yeah, you might be onto something. I just haven't noticed it.
It was just interesting that there wasn't as much, but I like my honorifics in Japanese in media. When I read it, I don't like it when translators take them out. Demon Slayer did it, and I'm not happy about it.
I was trying to figure out what you meant by honorifics, but eventually, through context, I did figure it out, and that was very big brain to me. So everybody should
Well done.
congratulate me on that. But my second point is we kind of got to speed this up.
We do.
Because the battery's looking a little bit thingy, and Mr. R's got things to do. So then we cut away. We get a big dramatic Armin says. At first, it seems like he's gonna say, "I refuse your thingy," but it's a big fucking fake out. You flip the page, and he says, "We are gonna get our hands dirty too." And then they come up with the big scheme. Well, at first we see that Flock is killing people, being a prick, knowing your place and such. And then eventually we get the Kiyomi's looking like she doesn't give a fuck all the time. It's really cool. She's really cool. And then we get Armin's attempted plan here. Have we gotten up to this cut panel that I'm forgetting yet?
No,
I
not
assume
yet.
not.
We won't see it for a little bit
Okay.
longer.
I'll keep going then. Then we get up to Daz and Samuel. They're here. Holy shit, remember them.
Small detail, minor thing. They dismounted the horses at the back of the harbor. They didn't ride them all along, which probably makes sense.
I guess. A small detail I think I noticed was I think in this one shot in the anime where Armin pulls up initially, Connie's already in front of him and he's not in this shot. Though I could be wrong because I am wrong a bunch, but I think so. I think that's a thing. I'm trying to figure out if they had as much detail on Daz tying up and untying the detonator, because I didn't remember that.
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Oh no, they did in the
think so.
anime. I don't think they did in the manga.
Yeah. And again, this kind of all happens more quickly, I think, in the manga. But again, the tension was because of the slow pacing. I think it actually really did work in the anime. Now
there are a lot of panels of just people looking. No, the cut.
Yes,
Okay,
in the
I can tell you when the cut thing happens, just so you don't scroll through everything. The cut thing happens right as Daz and Samuel are about to be killed.
Okay. But this was cut too. We didn't see Kiyomi do a big jump quickly and get it. We sort of cut outside. Now, I think this panel was ultimately not done as well as I would have liked. I feel like it was very quick with first of all, Flock didn't have the soy face as he hit the ground. I think Nate's been going on in chat about how he didn't like that Flock wasn't as much of a bitch in this episode.
Yeah. Actually, looking back, yeah, he definitely didn't. He definitely wasn't soy facing in the anime, which is a big.
Yeah. Because we also don't get we do cut outside in the manga here too, but there is this sort of quick we don't see Kiyomi get up. It's kind of weird. She seems too far away to have snuck up on him. But in the manga, we do get this intermediary panel. This panel in the middle is what I'm trying to say, of her grabbing the gun here, and she looks speedy as fuck.
We don't mess around.
Yes, she fucks him up real good.
Yes, the Japanese no jutsu.
Yes. I've always liked this. We did kind of get some censorship here, I guess, too. This particular 2-page action, the speed lines here and everything, you got of Mikasa crashing through the fucking window, and then this bloke just getting he dead from the kick. Didn't look like he was necessarily dead. He hits the fucking ground here too. We got an explosion shot. I guess that's probably from the gun, huh?
Oh shit! Is that him? Is that him snapping his neck as he hits the ground?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's fucking dead because
He's
at this bloke too.
Good grief.
We did like there was like a red mark on his face, but there was not literally blood splurting and his head hitting the wall and his brain getting knocked open. Holy fuck! I didn't even
Oh, but
notice
yeah.
that the last
The
7
gun,
times
the
I read
gun
this
in his
goddamn chapter.
face, that felt so flat in
Yeah.
the anime, but here's like
Yeah.
denting him.
Manga superior as
That
per
one's a
usual.
soft tip.
Yeah.
I remember the next chapter particularly being super violent. There's like stabbing through people from behind and shit, from Haji and shit. I thought maybe this first part wasn't as much, but I guess it was, and the anime just did tone it down a little bit. I really like, again, a lot of the paneling here. I really like the action in these 2 chapters. I think I talked about this last time I reread them on stream, like 4 or 5 months ago or whatever. But a lot of it is really satisfying here. Like, I guess this page sort of summarizes it, of like these 2 panels of like, it feels like an instant, like, this is the pose, and then this is the close-up of the pose, like a millisecond later, and or not even a millisecond later, immediately, and it's in his face, and it's contorting his face, and his cheekbone is popping out, and he's about to hit his head, and get fucking crushed. And
Yeah,
then
because
you get
again,
the
like
cool line
it
thing.
conveys a level of speed that I think if you were to mimic that same level of speed in the anime, it might just look a little weird.
Yeah.
So how did Mikasa fly in and them not?
She's
like-
super speedy and super quiet and super cool.
Oh,
Listen-
I see.
Listen, Bacon, don't
Am I doing too
question
much
it.
big
It
brain?
made for a good shot. That's all that matters.
It
Okay,
could
okay.
work if this is like the building closest to the outside of the camp, and she just like dropped down real quick, or they were all looking at the shot, and that was her cue to jump in. And they were all distracted and looking into the building and not out to the building. Also, there is like a kinetic energy here of Flock, like the one shot of you can follow the trail of how Flock got out of the window, and he's sort of panicked, like they've turned on us, everybody attack. He looks very in the middle of screaming here. Manga good.
Could
like
also
how
be
they
that,
did
like
that in the
Connie and Armin, they made
Yeah.
enough distraction for Mikasa to get around and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm
They were
sure
riding
you
around
could logic-
shouting.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
can look
So
at
shut
it.
up, Bacon, and keep your opinions to yourself.
No, you know me. I
Um,
need everything to be perfectly logical in my stories. Otherwise, they're not good.
Yes.
Not enough like real life, in my opinion.
The another really weird little detail I want to point out is how good the suits look on these Azumabito fellas. I really like the coloring on their suits here. Don't know why. You can't do that in the anime because you're putting a whole bunch of colors in there. And it's not just great, but their suits look nice, and we should acknowledge it. Oh, this kind of gets into it too, sort of the action stuff and why I think it's really good in these chapters. I'm remembering it now as it all comes back. There's a lot of fake out, like every page has like a fake out, oh no, everybody's dead moment. And it'll get into it more in the next chapter because we didn't get that much action in this episode. But this moment of them like getting cornered, I feel like in the anime it's sort of like they get cornered, we cut to Kiyomi. Kiyomi has a line, Mikasa, help us. Or I think she literally says Lady Mikasa, it's kind of cute. She says Miss Mikasa here. Mr. I can check what they say in the official version.
Yes, I
And then she like jumps off the wall and then jumps down. It's like, again, very sort of like slow. And it's sort of like, they should have shot him by now. Whereas in the anime, in the manga rather, it feels like, you get to like process that, holy fuck, they're gonna die. And then immediately your eyes go down and it's them getting their heads shot off.
She says
It's
Miss
like, oh, what the
Mikasa
fuck
in the
happened?
official translation as well.
Miss Mikasa. Okay. I like Lady Mikasa. Isn't it cute? But then we get sort of, again, more of an action shot with more action lines of Megarth saying things. He looks very in motion here in the shot. Cool detail on the gun. I don't know. I feel like the...
And it's interesting how Jean's gun is still on his back. He hasn't shot anybody yet.
Yes, he was even in... There was a later shot in the anime, and it'll be interesting to see if it's in the manga, but he's kind of hiding behind Megarth and not shooting again. So it's sort of like this conflict in John, I guess, of he's not specifically ready to start killing people. Because I think the first time... Well, I guess Mikasa probably killed these 2 blokes up here. So I was going to say it's like the first time one of the like youngest scouts kills somebody is when Connie does at the end of the chapter. But that might not be true, depending on whether or not Mikasa killed these blokes. She definitely kills some blokes next chapter.
Something I want before we move on. Something I want to say about Megarth that I didn't clock until this episode. Obviously, he's got the scout uniform, and I clocked that obviously, but what I didn't clock until this episode, and I don't know if you brought it up in your video, Kyle, or not. I can't remember. Is it specifically he's wearing it's Jean's coat that he's got? and it was
I
Jean
did
who he
not realize
who he
that,
who
but
he had
that
the
is
conflict
true.
with in the previous episode. It was Magath and Jean had that stare down,
like
that
that.
conflict,
Cool.
and it's Jean's coat
He's
that he's
not
got because
lying. He's not
Jean is the
lying.
only one who had the formal wear. Mikasa, Connie, and Armin all had their sort of expedition gear.
He
I just thought
is
that was a
not
neat
lying.
little thing that I
It
had to
is
bring
neat.
up.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
There's more
Goat
depth than you
Sayama's
realize.
back, boys. Let's go.
Fucking
Now
symbolism
that's
everywhere.
some logical sense. But yes, very, very good. Fuck, I can't remember if I had something else to say. Then we cut outside to Daz and the gang, and we're being very tense. They're trying to say no, and Samuel Straight pops this man in the mouth. You heard me. Twice, I think. Once
The
in
anime did a
jaw, once
really
in the
good
side of
job
the mouth, and then he
of it.
falls.
Although
Yes, I
the
thought
reaction
the
community
suddenness-
were not fooled for a second though, because they were like, "Oh, he's a Titan. He'll just transform. It's fine."
I mean,
I think the
that's
first time
smart
I read
thinking
it, I
by
was
Sam.
like caught up for a second, but yeah. Bacon, what we saying?
That was smart thinking by Sam.
Yeah,
Making sure.
he was ready.
Oh, we're about to get to the panel.
Ooh.
Hold on, let me have a look here. Let me scroll through the scene. We get the confrontation. That's what's happening here. What did we get cut? They cut the actual image of cutting back to the Sasha meet moment, which I think
That's-
probably would have helped. And
that's the one.
Was that the one?
That's the one
Okay.
because it's
the
cut
meet
back.
scene.
I think because it would have helped because people would have remembered who Samuel was because he was there
Or
at
at
that
least
moment.
seen it. Yeah. And then they would have said that's a retcon, and then the comments would have been like, no, it's not actually. Go back and look. But yeah, they definitely should have included this.
Yeah, what a weird thing to remove.
Well, they never do these fucking things, except for sometimes when they do them, like we've mentioned a bunch. But a lot of the time they do cut these little odd paneling things out, and they're so cool. Look at how this is paneled. Memories are wonky in the brain and stuff. But yeah, it helps the line a million fucking times over.
No, it doesn't.
It's
It
not like
reminds me
food.
of Sasha. Bad, good stuff, man.
What do they say in the official translation? I mean, I'm sure it probably will be like we were going to share meat or whatever, but
Yeah. Check it for us real quick.
yeah, that we could. It said that we could eat meat together, not share meat together, but it's about it's similar enough.
I love sharing meat.
I mean,
But,
I didn't really mind it so much. I guess but it does kind of show like how little we know about these characters. That this is the only time we can really bring it up. So afterwards, yeah, we don't really care about these guys. So
Yeah.
like, were they really
feel
that
like
much of friends? I guess so.
Well, they would have spent 4 years together, or 3 years together. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, wasn't Samuel
This
one of the
kinda-
people that Aaron had convinced to join the Survey Corps just through his, bullheadedness
Maybe.
about it?
'Cause don't they all say that on the roof? I remember
Yeah.
Thomas
I know that
saying that.
Thomas
Connie
and-
says that. Connie is the first one,
Yeah.
which is kind of cute. But I'm pretty sure Mia says that too. God, I remember their names, Bacon. Are you jealous? You didn't
Well, her
remember
name's
their
Mina,
names,
so you don't
did
quite
you?
remember her name. But
Oh, dude.
Yikes.
Yikes.
sorry, sorry.
Who is
that
Mia?
was that was
Mia
me.
is Gabby, right? Gabby is Mia.
Yeah, Mia
Or
is
that a
Gabby's
different
name.
too?
Yeah, that's
Yikes.
Mina Carolina or Mina Carolina, depending on
Thomas,
how you
though,
want
I
to
got
pronounce
that
it.
right. Remember
Yeah.
Thomas Bacon? You didn't remember Thomas.
Actually, I think I did remember Thomas. He's the one with the really bad sideburns, isn't he?
He's the one who everyone thought was Reiner when he got eaten in the anime.
Yeah, he's the one you get confused with Reiner. And then I remember this is an odd memory of the first time I remember watching the anime for the first time. I remember when Reiner showed up later, I was like, didn't he die earlier? So I definitely did confuse. This is like in episode 17 when he shows up
Thomas
and like,
Wagner.
and
Yeah,
he
he has the
squishes
bad
him and then-
sideburns. I
and,
remember
and then he
Thomas.
cuts out of her hand. Yeah, fucking Thomas, he's the blonde one.
He's got the sideburns.
Not that
Jesus.
blonde one. Not the blonde one that's important. The other one. He's a little shorter. Kind of a lot shorter. Then we've got some more motion here. It looks cool in the manga. And then, oh, I didn't realize that this shot was indeed in the... I don't think I've ever noticed this shot properly. But in the manga, there is indeed the over-the-shoulder. It's more slanted here because manga is cool and slanted and stuff. Especially when Isayama does it. But Annie and Reiner both pop up right behind him and then transform. Now they have these cool, like, translucent-looking mid-transformation things here, which is really cool. Also, they were transforming for quite a long time. We cut to other people observing their transformation as it was happening. It's kind of odd. Another anime kind of being too slow in this.
But I did really like those sort of really nice sort of ODM shots of Reiner and Annie, like
Yes, that's what
making
needs
their
to
way
happen,
through.
yeah.
It was really, I thought it was a really cool scene. Like it really, like I think like just the medium again. I think it's like a good change for the
Yes,
manga. It
I
makes
was
sense for
about
them to
to
just
say.
appear in a panel like that. Has impact, but in the anime, when you get that, the anime has the opportunity to do that build up in a really organic way, and it's
If we can become Mr. Entertainment from about 3 years ago and go hardcore about how I could have turned this into a talking point back in the day, was that the coolest like action moment in the episodes were those two scenes, and they were both wholly original to anime. So you shouldn't adapt manga, and you should just let the anime people do their own thing, because when they're allowed to do their own thing, it's good. But we don't say things like that anymore. But it was cool that sort of like when they're allowed to do things in their own pace and sort of come up with things, it kind of works better in the sort of episode that they've created. But yeah. I'm trying to yes, Connie does tackle him. I thought that was a thing for a second. We've got the cool shading here too, and the big light balls. It's cool. Then we do get the cut where Yelena is like, violence, bro. This has always been a weird cutaway to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, what is she? Why is she
would
saying
you
it
say
to
this
Levi?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess because
I
Levi's the
always
only
thought this
person
was-
there.
True.
I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like they're on opposite sides because Levi hates Zeke and she's Zeke's like fangirl, and it's
Oh,
like
maybe,
Levi
yeah.
used to want to kill Zeke.
And she's all big on the euthanization plan, I guess. Ooh, something else, by the way, just to go back just a second, I just wanted to confirm something, and I'm correct about it. In chapter 101, when Eren said, "It's time, Mikasa," again, all we see is a panel of Mikasa immediately behind the Warhammer Titan, but in the anime, they did that cool build-up shot of her weaving through everything.
Yeah.
It's the exact same trick again. Sorry, I just wanted to interject that. I was trying to find the chapter, because I couldn't remember which one it was.
Indeed. But yeah, I guess this Levi thing, I guess I just talked myself into not thinking it was that weird.
We have a big Jimmy comment.
We do.
Be sure to read it.
I did see the paragraph. Bacon, read it out for us, word for
Oh
word.
damn! I do think
Fuck anything
Isayama
up,
should
I
have
will
either
make
built
fun
up
of
these two characters up more, or used different, more likable characters for the scene to make the moment more impactful. You're right. If the only memorable moment with Samuel is him being in the background when they promised to eat meat together, and then maybe there was an opportunity for a more impactful callback.
I think the problem.
Yeah,
I think the problem
I don't
was.
think so.
I feel like the problem would
They were
be
the only
that.
characters left.
Yeah, they were the only characters
Unlike
left, and I don't think
the Blood
Isayama
Killer.
planned to use them for this way back then.
No,
Like, honestly, Sam, it would make sense for Samuel and Daz to just be dead, because like there was one other character. I think it was Hannah. You know, her boyfriend got eaten. We never saw her die, but
Oh,
she
yes,
was.
I guess she is
I think
still
she's been. I think she's been confirmed to have died off screen.
Maybe,
Probably because she was in the middle of the
Um,
street during the Titan attack trying to resuscitate. Francis
I
corpse.
like it. I think the impact of the moment, especially for more hardcore fans, is because I knew who they were, and when they popped up in this chapter, I was like, "Holy fuck!" He brought these two fellas back, and it's like I feel like that moment of like, yeah, like Daz and Samuel is like, I guess that's kind of like a more of a meta element, but I feel like it carries it completely. I don't think they have to be these massive characters. I feel like in their interactions, it's sort of it does the legwork of.
Yeah,
Even if
for
you
sure.
don't care about them specifically, but you care about sort of Connie and sort of his turmoil in killing them.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I'm clocking that
I
battery
think it's
level,
fine.
Kyle.
we haven't got a warning yet, but we're right at the end, so we get
That's
these
true,
cool
actually. There
action
isn't that
shots.
much action in this chapter.
Now, in the manga, it seems like we're just getting random shots of them swatting blokes away, and there's no cool Annie kick.
Oh, the kick
or-
was
or
so
that might
good.
be taken. But yes, they did all the Annie callbacks of her attacking the wires. She did the kick. They could have done the Petra Stomp instead of the kick, but they decided to do the kick. She even did the squeeze one bloke, which is another thing. Like these are all I've seen those attack on those female Titan arc episodes so many
I
times.
just want to say, I've made it the thumbnail for the video already, but how fucking good did Annie's Titan look? Because we got like a shot way back in part one of like, you know, during the nighttime scene where they were testing out the warriors, but like they did such a. I feel like the Annie Titan looks so good.
Yeah, I
I'd
thought both
agree.
Titans were pretty
I mean, this was the first time I kind of clocked that like Ina's and Annie's Titans are actually probably the most similar looking to each other. And it's
They are
quite cool
quite
how they
similar.
kind of parallel each other. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, I guess I also think a bit like both almost feel like almost like bodybuilder. It's supposed to
Yeah.
like you
Well,
got
that's the
female
thing. The
and male
Titans are all like
bodybuilder.
the
It's
early
peak
Titans were all
female and
based
male
off of
performance.
like weren't the Attack Titan, the Armor Titan, and the
MMA
Female Titan all based off of like MMA fighters or something?
Well,
Yes,
I know the Attack
Reiner is
Titan
Brock
was.
Lesnar, but yeah. I don't remember who Annie's was. I know Aaron's Titans, particularly with like the longer hair, when Aaron didn't have long hair back in the. That was based off a specific MMA fighter too. I think Annie's supposed to be Paige Van Zandt. I'm just thinking of that now. Pretty blonde fighter. That was the first one that came to mind. But I don't know much about real fighting. I only know a lot about fake fighting.
Looking at this panel,
Speaking of fake
during the struggle there, did we get that shot of Reiner in the background in the anime? Scroll up a bit. That you were pretty much on it. You can see Reiner in the background there fighting with all the steam
Oh yeah.
Oh, this
When-
one. It
when
is-
they're
yeah.
when
I
they're
don't
struggling.
think we got that, but
I can't
it
remember.
is cool that he's back here. I don't think we got this shot of them like hunkering down the bunker again either, but yeah. Then we get to the big moment. God, I love the paneling in this panel. I love the Bertolt moment of like Connie, because I remember specifically Connie is the one, because they kind of frame it as more of an Armin thing in the episode, which I think is kind of not as good. But Connie, I think in the confrontation where this panel is from, I think he is the one that shows up, because Connie has the moment, because this all sets up his later stuff about feeling like he's like the most betrayed out of them all.
Mhm.
That lashing out moment in the dungeon. But because he didn't know that, because he was separated from the group, so he didn't know that they had already figured out, or suspected at least strongly, that Reiner and Bertolt were the Armored and Colossal Titans. So after they've transformed and run off, Connie has that kind of cute, funny moment where he's like, somebody find Reiner and Bertolt, they might get like caught in the mess. And he doesn't realize that they're the ones that just bolted and they are the Titans. And then later, he's told this off screen. And then when we get to this moment, because there's the moment where Reiner is sort of protecting Bertolt from everybody, and like all of the 104th people end up on like Reiner, and they sort of have this mini talk. And Bertolt gives the speech there about like, he sort of says, do you really think we wanted to do this and all this stuff? And it's sort of like a big perspective meme about how initially you're like, I guess fuck Bertolt, he's killing all these people. But in retrospect, it's like, there's no way they can understand. And this moment is very much the perspective thing of like, we do not have time to explain like the endless amount of shit we would have to explain to get Daz and Samuel over to our perspective, if that's even possible. And so we just have to kill them, which is what happened with Bertolt, basically. It's such a good little moment.
The Bertolt panel is being the face that he's having is in the Attack on Titan arc when they're getting covered by Reiner running away. So this is not in Shiganshina. So I don't know if that moment has something different to do with it, but
yeah, this is like that from that really good speech where he gives in like the bit where he says, "Someone please find us."
Yes, that line specifically is so good.
Which I think, they re-recorded a completely new line for the anime, but in the manga he doesn't say anything. They literally just cut to like.
Yes, I like that it's a little subtler in the, because I remember it took time to click in, for me specifically with this panel originally, of it being like Bertolt in that moment can't say anything to the gang. He can't say, because they don't even know Marley is a thing. Like, there's too much to go over in this split-second moment. To like, you just have to sort of fight. Like, it's kind of interesting, because I remember going through Attack on Titan. I had a very optimistic view of what the theming was going to be. I thought like we were going to stop the rumbling before it killed anybody, and in the end it would be like, oh, we did save the day, and it would be sort of the Code Geass ending. And in the end, like, Attack on Titan kind of doesn't do that. It doesn't have like talking and getting on each other's side and perspective will save the world eventually. Because like, going through this chapter, that specific moment that we were talking about with Yelena and Levi about violence continues through. The violence does continue forever. Attack on Titan doesn't I guess pretend to have this sort of like conclusion of how to stop violence, because it seems like that is an impossible task. Unlike something like that kitty manga Vinland Saga.
Yeah, big old baby.
I hate that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have to see how that pans out because that might be going the same Attack on Titan way. But this moment, I guess, leans into that. I got distracted because I decided to meme about Vinland Saga and can't remember what the appropriate conclusion to that rant was going to be. Attack on Titan is not as optimistic as I thought it was going to be. Like the whole run of it.
Yeah,
And
it's still pretty. Yeah, the ending's very bittersweet.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got a couple of things to say about these panels as well. Once you're done.
Go ahead. I think I'm done.
Okay. Well, first of all, the manga, both the fan translation and the official translation, talks about we're on the same side, whilst the anime specifically says, "I thought we were friends. We are friends." I think it's an interesting change.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that was just a.
I did think the friends stuff was like. It feels like we're in Sesame Street and we're talking about being friends. I guess I like the we're on the same side thing a little more.
Friends, I guess, maybe brought back to that personal level again, more than being on the same side. I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was a nice. The other thing as well is the way the anime framed these scenes. Like, it looks here like Armin is trying to approach Daz, but because everything happens so quickly, that's all that happens. Whilst the anime, it looks like Armin's just stood there waiting for Daz to pull the trigger. It's a little odd. Like, Armin is just sort of sat there staring at him, and it's like, no, what the fuck? Armin... I never got that vibe in the manga. The vibe I got was that Connie was just so quick on the draw that he shot Daz before Daz could shoot Armin, who was trying to get closer and closer.
It's sort of... I don't know. I sort of think I got the same sort of vibe that they did in the anime of sort of like Armin is like still. He's like... He can't make the decision. Connie is the one that has to make the decision, and Armin will sort of learn from this. Moving forward and sort of learn to take action.
I mean, I've always
also,
liked that this scene does take out his mouth. You know, Armin's always known for talking.
Yeah, he can't talk. Yeah,
and so now he can't talk. It's just, yeah, nice. Always nice.
He's talking. His whole scheme here didn't work. The plan. He can't talk his way out of every situation. Which again, I think. Lived. Yes, I think that sort of goes into what I was talking about sort of like Attack on Titan isn't about like talking through your problems always or whatever. It's not that optimistic. This is sort of all an element of it, but yeah. Also, this last panel is so fucking good. Again, the lighting here, the Connie scream, the black. Ugh, what a time to be alive!
Daz pulling into the water back in the background.
Yeah, I think the anime they kind of tried
close up. Look at this man's face; it's getting shot in.
They tried to make up for it in the anime by having Connie shoot multiple times, just out of frustration. Yeah. I think that was the only way they could really make up for it, because they couldn't obviously just show that.
Works too. I think it works a little more in the manga, but I did like it.
I just don't think that what's shown in the manga could have aired on Japanese television. I don't think you could have got away with that.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for the Japanese watershed. But...
Yeah. I just want to click on the next chapter quickly. I remember I was like confused for a long time because I thought Armin was the one that fell into the water. I remember this was like a big meme. I remember Minty making fun of me for this. But that's just the first page on the next thing. Then the action next week should be really good. I really like the action. Yeah.
Samuel did get shot multiple times. Look at the body.
It does show here, yeah. 1, 2, 3. We probably won't get that close up next week either, but I guess we should do final thoughts because I did indeed just get the. Yes, I did indeed just get the first laptop thingy. So, does anybody want to round out a discussion here? Anybody didn't get to say something they wanted to say, or something?
I think it did a really good job translating certain shots that worked really well in the manga into anime. We'll go with that, like shots where there were limitations that the limitations of the medium allowed it to do it that way in the manga, and they had to be clever and think about how to translate that in the anime, and it's a thing that Mappa's been very good at this season.
Yes, I liked it too. I thought it was good. I thought it was continuing on being a pretty good old adaptation. That's really all I gotta say. There weren't any particular cinematography things for me to lose my fucking mind over this week, but next week probably won't be that either. We'll see what they do with the Eren stuff. It will be interesting. How many more episodes do we have? 3?
2.
2.
2.
But apparently, I heard a rumor that obviously the final episode's been delayed a week, and apparently I've heard it's also an hour long. But I've not had any verification on that second rumor.
Oh, so we're not getting a movie. We're getting an
So it'll be like a
hour-long
Demon
blasting.
Slayer.
We're gonna
No, we'll still
cram
have to.
everything
We'll
in.
still have to get a movie. But
Yes, I know.
but Dawn of Humanity may lead into. Maybe we'll get the flashback as part of Dawn of Humanity then.
Dude,
We'll get
an
all the
hour,
flashbacks.
an hour
Aaron
Attack on
Monteith is
Titan
one.
episode. I'm getting more and more on board with this idea of having a movie, like sitting down and just instead of having these drips and drabs of yucky 20 minutes, give me back the good times when I could binge Attack on Titan. And then most of my issues are fixed. I think that's pretty much it.
But again, I don't know if it is now. Again, it's a completely. I just saw it circling on TikTok, and TikTok is not a reliable source of news. So,
Oh,
I personally get all my news from TikTok, so
pinch of salt.
I just look at my
Don't
clock
wait.
to get my news.
the Mr. Ari, you got anything final to say here?
I thought it was a very good episode. Not much else to say. I don't know. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to a
I
movie.
feel like,
If there's a movie.
yeah, we'll see about this fucking movie nonsense. Going to a theater. Yikes. It's gonna come out like 3 months later here. Yikes. We'll see.
Sure.
Still haven't seen that Batman movie or this Uncharted movie. I'm never going to the theater again. Spider-Man was my last time. But am I safe to do the outro here? Are we all finished? Are we all
Did
done?
Bacon give his thoughts?
Yeah, it was okay. I enjoyed the episode, but I enjoyed it as much as I would most Attack on Titan anime episodes. So it didn't hit different; it hit similar,
Well,
which is pretty good. That means I enjoyed it.
we got the bacon thoughts out of the way. Well, everybody, it's been fun. We will be back next week, but then we'll have a 2-week break or something. We might be Sunday. Oh no, we might be Monday. We might be Tuesday. We might be late. We might be early. You'll have to wait and see. Will
won't
there
be
be
there.
a main channel Attack on Titan video? Oh yes, next week Mr. I won't be there no matter what.
No.
So Baking, you have to pick up some of this slack. Alright?
Alright.
No skipping. I guess,
Hey,
I
I'm
guess
not.
me and Ari could
Ari is more of an Attack on Titan fan than me. I'll say that right now.
yes, maybe me and Ari will just do it ourselves. Both of you will fight. Howdy.
Actually, next week
It'll be an Australian only podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Get these Brits out of here. But anyway, I've motioned to do this fucking outro about 7 times now. Everybody's links are in the description below, along with the support links. Wait, no, I can't just do it like that. Support links in the description below. Thanks.